Welcome to System Dynamics Online Tutorials. In this session we're going to cover the requisition approval stage of a requisition. Under the distribution within the purchase order module, we have under processing the requisitions process within the purchasing. The approval application allows us to call up the given requisition. As can be seen by first entering in this application, we are automatically in a query mode, and we can use a list of values to see all of the valid requisitions that can be accessed at this point. So if we simply select the first one and then execute this query, the particulars of that requisition are brought up. The product code is listed down here, the description, the requested amounts, and it allows the system to maintain the approved amount, the vendor that we want to assign it to. It even allows us to override the cost, etc. And as far as any given item that we choose, we can actually interface and put it out to tender with our e-business, business-to-business applications, and give it an expiry date on that particular product. This requisition 5, the requested by, who it was entered by, I can enter the approved by, so it might be myself doing the approval, the warehouse that it's actually coming into, and the source that I entered on the requisition, those internal references coming from the marketing department here. The approved date would be timestamped to the system date if I don't do anything, or I can actually enter in the approval date myself. And if I wish to approve everything here, have the requested quantity automatically populated into the approved quantity, I can approve all, and all the defaults will be accepted if this was a multi-page type requisition. Or by simply going down to each given item, the system will automatically, if it's a stocked item, populate the primary vendor from the stock file onto the vendor here, and it'll allow me to enter the requested amount, or sorry, the approved amount that I make a decision on. So I could actually approve all of the 10. At this point in time, I could actually change the vendor. I can use a list of values and actually choose the vendor that I wish to get that from, or simply leave the vendor if that's fine. When I do that, the system will automatically, based on the vendor product pricing, take on the cost of that particular vendor for that particular item. And if that's unacceptable or not, there's no problem in actually overriding the cost. Maybe I've been in contact with this vendor and he's going to give me a real special deal for this particular item, and that's not an issue either. Then I can simply move on to the next item, and if I wanted to, as I mentioned as far as the tendering was concerned, if I wanted to give this particular item out to tender, I simply flag the item as going out to tender, and it will take the vendor amount off, vendor code off of the system, because it's going out to be bid on by multiple vendors. And this, once it's saved, will be injected automatically into our business-to-business applications over the internet, and the vendors will be able to come in and see myself, or as a company, ourselves, and all of the products that we have out for tender, and they will see that there's a level top Reed Carpenter's level product code 5753132 on tender, and they'll be able to bid on a cost we know of $6.30. They won't know it, and then we can actually give this an expiry date that we only want this to be out for tender, say for the next month, etc. And they will bid on that, and then at that end of that processing stage, the system we will award the particular vendor with that item, and it will automatically come back to this requisition, take it off of tender, and assign the vendor that we award it to. And then it will go through the normal flow of being turned into a purchase order and actually go out to that vendor. What we can do here is simply, if we don't want this item to go on tender, we can go back and choose the vendor that we want it to come to, and simply save this requisition, and all of these items are this particular item here is approved. I guess we can approve these other ones as well too for the next process. Just by default. And we will have to give a vendor, so we can use a list of values and give it a cost. If the cost defaults to 0, that tells me that for that particular vendor this item does not have a product cost file set up. So I want to make sure that I give items a cost. And simply save that to the database, and my requisition number 5 has been approved by Tim, approved on 29th of January, and here's my approved amounts and then the vendors and costs that I may have overridden, and now the requisition is ready for the next stage within the requisitioning process.